Hi Libra, welcome to your reading. I know it's been a while since I've done this reading, or since I've done your reading, but I had this request a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately, it hasn't been until this week that I've been actually able to make it happen. So thank you for your patience, and here we are. I hope that during this moment you get to enjoy as we receive the messages from Spirit World. Of course, just keep in mind that these are very overall reading and it's not going to describe every situation out there. But I always say that, the messages can help anyone. So maybe this time around you may feel like it's not really hitting the nail with, describing your situation, or maybe you're not in this situation, but you never know. Maybe in the future you will be. So you can always come back. So I want to say also thanks to those of you who are following me and continue to support my channel. And I really hope that for those of you who are here for the first time, that you get to subscribe to my channel. Ideally, what I like to do is at some point be able to do this full time. But right now, due to the finances, I cannot. So I have to do other things to be able to financially support myself and do this very part-time. And this is why in many cases I don't have the time to do it, because this is not something that I can just make and spit out every week like nothing. This is something that requires me to be in a right space, state of mind, and rested so that I can connect with, spirit. All right, Libra, so let's begin. So in this particular moment, Libra, I see you very, like you're thinking a lot. It's like you're in a state of mind where there's a lot of things going on through your mind. And it's like you're questioning things. It's like at some point you made a decision, the mind made a decision to continue on, and when it's time for the body to follow, you're having a difficult time doing that. And that's causing you to stall. That's causing you to stop and, take a break and think things through. And this is why in the heart of your reading, you have the Four of Cups, and it's like, you're contemplating, or you're thinking, or you're, it's like you're remembering what happened. It's like you're very nostalgic. And it's interesting because in the center of your reading, you have the number 4 of Cups, and in the bottom, you have the Page of Cups. So it's like you're in this state of mind where you are quite indecisive of what to do. And on one end is, you left the Ace of Wands behind, which is, like this all relates to our passion, to our dreams, to the things that we desire to attain. And in this case, I would say that we're talking here about a relationship where there was a very strong connection with someone, but something happened that made you get away. I see here like something happened that made you get away, and at that moment you felt that it was the right thing to do. Like you wanted to move on and go and search for your dreams somewhere else. And yet when it was time for you to actually, completely do what you set out to do, you're having second thoughts. And now you're in a state of waiting. And Spirit is saying, well, what are you waiting for, Libra? What's causing you to doubt? What's causing you to second guess? So as we're sitting around, or as we are thinking about this situation, the Three of Wands, it's coming as the option, right? Like it's like that probably the best thing for you is to walk away, to continue on, to move on. And yet, you still have this emotional state of sadness, nostalgia. And what Spirit is saying here, Libra, is that as you continue to do this, if you are not able to transform that or to change that, that is going to lead you into a storm. Because the cards that are entering as you are vibrating these energies, the Five of Wands and the Eight of Swords. So here Spirit is showing like some kind of conflict where you may end up arguing with your loved ones, or arguing with this person, or arguing with yourself. And sometimes when we have that inner conflict, we tend to close ourselves up. And in that state of mind, a lot of times we create resistance, and that resistance will create more obstacles. And many of them come self-induced, because the Eight of Swords has to do with what we're feeding ourselves to. So when I look at the forces that are assisting you in this moment, I see the element of water. So there is a process of purification here with our emotions. And we have Pisces on the other hand. So we know that water signs are Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. And when I have Pisces here, I could see that this is all related to certain dreams that you have. Maybe the person that you're thinking about was someone that at some point you thought it was the right person for you, or the person that you always wanted to have, but something happened that you changed your course of action. And when I see the cards or the energies that are representing you right now, we have the Cosmic Egg and we have the Lion. The Lion also came out for Virgo. It's been coming out quite a bit. So the Cosmic Egg talks about that part within ourselves that comes with that raw power, that divine energy within all of us. And as you could see, that egg is being surrounded by the energy of a snake. And the snake always represents wisdom, higher wisdom. It also is the energy of the Kundalini. It talks about the energy of our potential, what we need to do in order to really access our potential. And Spirit is saying here, Libra, have you broken this egg? Because this is an egg that is within all of us. And there are moments in our lives when we have the opportunity to break this egg within ourselves. And this is the energy that helps us transcend any limitations. As well, it allows us to see the designs of the divine. The designs of the divine within each one of us. So if you, for whatever reason, Libra, are feeling frustrated, or you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling discontent, because although you know what's the right thing to do, your heart tells you differently, this is the moment where you have the opportunity to break that egg and to nurture yourself with the energy and the wisdom that is inside that egg. It's funny because with the energy of the Lion, we know that it represents the element of fire. The lion has been able to know what it wants, and is an animal that when it goes after their prey, they're very straightforward. They know exactly what they want and they go after it. So it's the energy of strength and power. However, out of harmony, it could be an energy of a lot of aggression. Libras, you have great qualities about you. You're very friendly, you're very sociable, and you're very much admired by other people. However, a lot of times you are not very easy to open up. They don't find it easy to get to know you. So in some ways, I feel like many of you tend to keep people at a distance. You sort of live in your own reality, in your own world, and in that world, it has to feel very balanced to you. And when things get chaotic, you could be quite comfortable through the chaos, sometimes it may be emotional, but ultimately you got to regain the equilibrium. Otherwise, you feel out of sorts. So one of the things that Spirit is asking you is to rely on the divine within you as the source of nourishment, so that at some point or at some level, you're able to soothe the energy in a way that you don't have to walk into the storm and create bigger problems. Because I see here that in the path you're going, there is some sort of conflict that you're going to have, or that can be created with your loved ones or with your children or with this person, that is not going to be very healthy. And maybe at this point it cannot be avoided because it's so close to you. But maybe it is. Everybody out there is different. And of course, there are people that are going to hear this and they're going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. But, if you feel that way, it's because I'm not talking to you. I'm only talking to the people that are hearing me and know that within themselves there's this type of situation. So when I look at the person that you're dealing with here, they come with the energy of the owl and the energy of the otter. Okay, and we know that this little animal sometimes live near river banks, as well as, there are some that live on earth, with the element of earth. And the characteristics of the otter is someone who is very, very playful, very family oriented, very caring, and very loving. But these are people that they don't like to be manipulated. They could be all of those things, Libra, but they don't like to be manipulated. And I don't know exactly what transpired between the two of you for you to change your mind. Because I feel like in this case, it was more you that changed your mind than they did. If the cards would tell me that it was them who changed their mind, I would say, well, yeah. But I see that it was more you, that you decided to move on. I'm sure there are other cases that are different out there, but I'm not speaking, you can change the situation if you like and continue to benefit from the reading. I see them thinking about the connection between the two of you and thinking about all the wonderful things that they got out of it. Because here with the Seven of Pentacles, sorry, I almost dropped my computer. With the Seven of Pentacles, I could see they're looking at it. On the other hand, we have the owl. And the owl, we know that in certain cultures, it's not necessarily a positive bird or animal. But in the Native American practice, it is. It's a symbol of good luck. It's a great medicine. The owl tends to be a very quiet energy at nighttime and can see many things that not many other birds can see. And I feel like this is part of this person's personality. That, they're very psychic, they're very aware, they're very awake, and they're able to see what other people may not. And one other challenges could be, Libra, that sometimes when people have this ability, they tend to anticipate. And that could be quite annoying. Because a lot of times they anticipate and they do it with the best interest in mind, but sometimes can annoy other people that are not seeing what they can see. Do they do it to probably hurt other people? No. The thing that I see here, that just like you with the Five of Wands, is also part of their future. However, the cards that are surrounding the Five of Wands are very different than yours. Because with yours, it's taking you to the Eight of Swords. With them, it's taking them to the Knight of Wands. And that tells me that they finally get to that point where they're able to move on and continue their path. The conflict that they're having right now, or the conflict that is coming their way, is that they may have second thoughts about moving on. And although they're trying, they're still thinking about the connection. They're still thinking about the good times, about the good things that were happening between the two of you. I know that, I don't know why I keep feeling like I know I'm going to have some people say, but he left me or she left me. I didn't leave them. If that's the case, because, you know, there's so many Libras out there, I would say, well, if they left you, they are still thinking about you. And they're thinking about you in a very good way. Now, if you have doubt about taking them back and you still are not able to get over them, Spirit is suggesting here to first release a lot of this negativity and all of these emotions that you're having of hurt and disappointment, okay? Feed yourself with the right energy. Feed yourself and your soul with the elements that are going to help you once again find the balance and the equilibrium that is very important to you. And then later come back and deal with the remaining emotions that you have towards this person. Because I feel like right now the energy feels quite split. Because one part of you wants to move on and has decided to do so, and the other part of you is still, you know, dragging the what if. And it's not, Libra, until we come to terms with the way that we feel that we cannot change the situation. A lot of times when we try to accelerate a process, it's because of our mind. Because our mind has, you know, its views about things, and the ego comes, or the ego, to, you know, talk about things in a way that, you know, has this expectation like I'm cool and I'm strong and I can do this and I am going to overcome it, when in reality it's just the ego. And the ego can try sometimes to talk for your heart and say things that your heart is not saying. So coming to terms with the fact that you still love this person or you still feel for this person and owning it, it's life-changing, because it's in the only moment that you can actually change the situation for the better. I feel like for some of you, this could have been, you know, like a long-term relationship, even a marriage. Maybe there is also the idea that, you know, some of you are looking for that and this person might not wanted it. They were not ready to that type of commitment. And you felt like the best thing for you was to move on instead of just continuing to create something that was not really in alignment with what you wanted. You know, that could be the case too. I mean, there's a lot of different options. And I'll tell you, I started doing this reading before and I had to stop just because I was connecting to so many different types of situation that it felt to me as I was reading the energy so chaotic that I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go and chill out and come back later and try it again and see if the energy is a little bit more subtle. And sure enough, so I know that I'm connecting with many different Libras here that are going through a lot of different things. But ultimately, the message here is that you have a potential. And one of the things you can do right now as you're facing this situation is tap into that potential that is within you and access aspects of yourself that can really help you grow and expand in a way that can definitely affect you for the rest of your life in a good way. And then, of course, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are already feeling that. Because the energy here is very much supporting this. When I asked for the cards of the ancestors to give me some advice in the reading, 3 cards came more than once. One was suffering. So I can see that some of you are doing that. The only way that you can actually transform that suffering is through the cosmic egg. Very spiritual. As you can see, that circle is the circle of spirit. Very spiritual card. The other one was grace. And the other one was solitude. To spend time for yourself or by yourself doing practices of breathing. As you know, when we breathe deeply, we bring more oxygen, fuel to our body, and that sort of calms our nerve system. And when our nerve system is calm, we open up and we're able to access information. Better information. So breathing exercises right now would be really helpful. And the idea is that whatever you do, Libra, try to avoid conflict, because this conflict could happen with your children, with your parents, with your family, people at work. It could happen suddenly, and it can come from where you least expect it. But the idea here is that if it happens, for you not to engage and create more problems. So it's kind of like being prepared for the storm and knowing what to do just in case. It could just very well be that it dissolves. I'm going to do this reading next week again because I want to see what happens. But I feel like, for some of you, you may not be able to prevent it, because you might have created so much resistance by now in this situation that it's unavoidable. But for some of you, you can, or at least be prepared for it. I always say that if you want to overcome obstacles, feed yourself with knowledge. Knowledge is so powerful that it can set us free. And what I like is that you're dealing here with someone, energetically, this person seems to not just be, anyone. This is someone who is very quite aware of what they want. They're very spiritual, and the energy that is supporting them is Mercury. And that we know that Mercury, it's the planet that rules Virgo, which is a planet that is very practical, and it's all about communication. The only issue with Virgo sometimes is that, they tend to sometimes be so, you know, when a Virgo says, this is how I feel, you cannot change their mind. Sometimes, you know, they can be very analytical. But I feel like Virgos can be very flexible. The other energy that represents Mercury is Gemini. And Gemini, we're talking about the twins. The good and bad, the positive and the negative. And the twins can be quite mischievous because one moment can say one thing and then the next moment could say another thing. But when I look at the, you know, situation with Virgo, I don't know, I get along really well with Libras. You know, with the male Libra, I personally have very good experiences. I don't know about you guys with Virgo, but I do. The only thing is that with Libra, sometimes I can butt heads. Because Libra, it's, you know, once they decide to take, you know, a route, they're basically 100% sure and they won't change their mind. And myself or Virgos, we can be quite flexible, but we don't like to be manipulated. And once we find the, you know, our true comfort zone, if we don't feel that that's the way we want to go about it, we don't. So that can create a comfort and it can butt heads. And Gemini, oh my goodness, Gemini, I married I didn't marry him, but I lived with a Gemini, and Geminis are also a lot of fun, but with Gemini you never know. These are people that can change your mind quite a bit, and for a Libra that could be quite difficult. Because sometimes, not all Geminis, but sometimes Gemini can say or do one thing and then it's another. We know that about the twins. And they don't normally communicate it to their other side. They make a decision and they change it and they don't communicate it. They just do it. And you're like, wait a minute, but I thought you were going to do this. And they're like, oh no, I just changed my mind. And that could be a problem for a Libra. Because Libra, ultimately, they need a stability. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have some sort of a stability. Anyways, Libra, I feel like you've been warned, my friends. I feel like you have an opportunity here to tap into your potential and really surrender to the vibration that is supporting you during this time. And don't be afraid to go deep within yourself and bring to the surface many of those emotions that you've been carrying for a long time that is causing you to feel insecure or uncertain or doubtful or afraid, okay? Because the opportunity that you're having is to finally dissolve those and as an exchange, substitute them with wisdom, substitute them with the power that lies within you, that it's very much connected to the divine. So thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. And I will be here next week to give you another reading and see what the oracle has to say. Love you guys. See you next time.